friends, my name is Ashley the Thrifty Chica. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making some fun Bohemian Infusible Ink coasters using Cricut Infusible Ink transfer sheets as well as pens. So if you haven't played around with the pens, this is a great project to do that with. Let me know in a comment below before we get started which one is your favorite, the sun or do you prefer the moon and the stars? And they're super glossy. I really love that about these coasters. Let's go ahead and get started. Hi guys, we're in the desktop version of Cricut Design Space and I'm going to show you how you can design this using the draw feature as well as creating the background for the coasters. So we're going to go ahead and click on images here, and I'm going with a kind of celestial theme because it's really popular in Bohemian design, and I know a lot of us really love how Bohemian design looks. So we're going to go ahead and search for something called Moon Burst. And that was one of the ones that I saw that I really loved and I thought would look really neat. There's a cut version in here and then there's a draw version. You can tell the difference between the two. This one pops up and says draw, but you can also click on where the little eye is and it'll tell you if it's a draw option or if it's a cut image. So we're going to select the draw image and click insert images. We're also going to go into images and search for the sunburst. And there's a ton of different images that Cricut's just added to the Design Space library. You would not believe how many new images they've been adding. But here's the other draw version. So we're going to highlight this one and click Insert Images. So I want to create a series of matching coasters. I thought these look really neat together. And what I want to do is have a background that's kind of a more softer color behind it, and then do a drawn image on the top of it. We have to keep an eye on the size of our coasters because we don't want these designs to be too big for our coasters. So the Cricut round coasters are approximately 3.6 inches in diameter. So we need to make sure that we resize this to fit within that size. So I'm just going to drag and click on the bottom right corner here and make this approximately a size that would fit within there. Just keeping in mind that this is a wide portion here. Since this one's round, it's a lot easier to resize this to fit a coaster. But when you're working on something that is a little bit oblong shaped or slightly off, you have to really keep in mind the dimensions. So for this one, I'm going to make sure that I keep the dimensions, good enough that they're visible and they don't take up everything for space. So I like that. I think that's going to look pretty good there. And we're going to go ahead and do this one and select pretty close in size because I want them to look pretty similar to each other. So this one's 3.278. This one is 3.271. That looks pretty good. And I want to make sure that I'm creating a coaster background for it. So we're going to go ahead and click on where it says shapes here. And we're going to click a circle. And our first step is just to make sure that we have this a little bit larger than the size of our coaster. So we know our coaster is 3.6 inches, so I'm going to size that to 3.6 inches. I think I'm going to show you guys just the two with this one. So I'm going to have this one duplicated. And what I'm going to do is make sure that they're different colored backgrounds because each one's going to look slightly different. So this one is going to have a lighter colored background. I'll probably use something like a lighter blue. And for the sun one, I want this one to be a brighter color. So what we're going to do is take our design and we're going to place this over where our coaster would be. So imagine this section is the infusible ink for the coaster, and this is the image that we're going to draw on top of it with infusible ink. So we're going to place this over here, and now it's hidden, we can't see it, so we're going to go up to the top where it says arrange, and we're going to send it to front. If you're using a mobile device, make sure that you click on the very bottom here and you should be able to adjust it with the arrangement there. So as you can see, it's a little bit off center. So if you want to change that, you can draw a box around both of them. And it highlights the tool up here where you can choose the alignment. So you can center it vertically, and that way you have it centered exactly where you would like. And it helps you because you can kind of see the little crosshairs on there. So this is an approximation of what it's going to look like once you've created it. And when you're happy with where it's located, you can go ahead and draw a box around it. Actually, let me make sure I've chosen the right pen here. So I'm just going up to the operation where it says pen, and I'm going to choose the infusible ink in black. And now I'm going to draw a box around everything. And we're going to use the attach tool. This tells the machine that these two pieces go together. So the pen will draw on this background here. So that one's ready. Okay, so once you're happy with how this is arranged, you can take this and you can kind of adjust it and play around with it a little bit. And then you'll select both and click the attach feature. And now you have a set of each kind of coaster. So now we're ready to go ahead and play around with it. Make sure you've selected which machine you're using, and then you can go ahead and click Make It. If you're doing anything with any type of writing or you're working with Infusible Ink, something to keep in mind is that you always want to select the mirror option. And the reason for this is it makes the background reversed on this. So that way when it's drawing it the way that it's going to show up the right way on the front. So you have to reverse your design so that way it looks correct when you're applying it. Because you're seeing it backwards. So we're going to go ahead, we've clicked mirror. Make sure to select the Infusible Ink transfer sheet, and it's going to make sure to ask you what type of pressure you want, if you want to adjust the pressure, and you can load your tools and your materials. So we're going to make sure we load the correct ink pen, and we're going to load our materials that we're using. So for the first sheet, we're going to be using one sheet of the Infusible Ink there and another sheet of a different color there. Here are the supplies that you'll need in case you would like to purchase the same supplies and you'd like to save 10% off. Check out the links in the description box. They are affiliate links and it supports my tutorials at no extra cost, and you get a 10% off coupon code. I'm going to be using the Cricut Infusible Ink pen. This is a black pen in the 0.4 size. And I'm also using the ceramic coaster blanks. These are really nice and heavy duty. It gives you really great quality. And we're going to be breaking out the Galactic stars pattern. I thought this would look really cool with that kind of celestial vibe that we're going for. We'll also be using our Easy Press mat and our Cricut Easy Press. We're going to be breaking out the Infusible Ink. They come wrapped in these little bags. This helps to prevent light or heat from touching your Infusible Ink. So taking a look at the box, this is really great because it gives me a good idea of what colors to work with. So this one has kind of a variation from pink to kind of almost like a teal colored blue. So I'm going to use this one for the moon with the stars. And I think that's going to make a really cool looking set. So I'm going to go ahead and load this one on here, and I'm going to be using I cut off a section here that I'm going to use because I want the yellow to be the top section. And I'm just going to place this on here. We're placing this infusible side up for the ink. We don't want the ink to touch the mat, which is why we're doing it this way. So I'm just going to make sure this is smooth on here. Whenever you're working with infusible ink, you want clean and dry hands with no lotion or anything else on them because we don't want anything to disturb the ink. We're going to load our project in. We're using the standard fine point blade that comes with the machine. And we also need to place our Infusible Ink pen into here. Something I like to do whenever I'm working with an Infusible Ink pen is to use it as a marker for just a second, just to make sure that the ink is ready to go. We're going to be placing this inside A. And when you're using the Explore series or the Maker, you want to place it until it clicks. And then you know it's ready to go. If you're using the Joy, you just pop it in and close the door. You don't have to wait for a click. Project is ready to unload. And as you can see, that looks cool already. It's going to get a lot more vibrant once we apply heat to it, but I really love how that looks. I can't wait to see how it turns out when we apply heat. Now we're ready to go ahead and do the same. We're going to complete the same step using the other piece of Infusible Ink for the moon. That's gonna look cool because you can see like a little bit of variation in the color. Since this is such a quick process to get everything ready, I always like to preheat my press early. So take your Easy Press and you're going to turn this on. Check the Cricut heat guide for the correct temperature, but it should be set to 400 degrees, and we're going to be placing this for 240 seconds. So I'm going to adjust the time for 240 seconds. This is a longer process, but you get a really beautiful result whenever you're working with ceramics and infusible ink. So I'm going to remove this and have it so it's just the piece that we're going to be using. Whenever you're trying to work with infusible ink, you're going to be cracking the design away from the backing so it removes cleanly. So here are the supplies we're going to be using. We have the Easy Press 2 off in the corner there. We also have the parchment paper that comes with the infusible ink sheets. And here are the designs that we created. We have our Easy Press mat, heat resistant tape, coasters, and a Dollar Tree lint roller. To work with our project, you can use the lint roller and just make sure that you clean off your coasters so that there's nothing that will interfere. We're trying to make sure that we don't have any lint or fuzzies or anything that would interfere with our design. So I like to run this over our coasters a couple times before we start working with it. So once those are ready to go, we're going to break out our coasters and we're going to take the designs and place them on here and just center them. The easiest way to center them is we're going to have it so that the face of these coasters, there's two sides. There's a matte side, which is the back, and then there's the shiny side. We want the shiny side to face the design. So we're going to be placing it shiny side to the design, and then we're going to center this on here and break out the tape. I like to apply it so that you can see the shiny side next to it. And we just center this on here, and then we're going to be breaking out the tape and taping this to it so it doesn't move. The key for getting the best design is to make sure that your design does not shift or move or have any variations in heat. That's one reason that we use the Easy Press with it and that we're taping everything down. So now let's get everything laid out and ready to work with. We have our Easy Press mat on the bottom. I have 2 sheets of butcher paper that are doubled up, so we have essentially 4 layers here. I have our coaster, and this is the wrong side here facing up towards us. The bottom has the picture design on the bottom here, so we're going to place that face down. We're also going to place a layer of butcher paper over the top of this, and then we're going to place our machine on top of this, centered without it moving. Just going to place this on top, and we're going to press the button for it to start. We don't want to place any extra pressure on this, so we're just going to leave this on here and let it count down. We're going to place this aside. We're going to remove our parchment paper, and then we need to let this cool completely before we touch this. I'm going to actually move this out of the way and work on getting another one done at the same time. If you have a larger Easy Press, you can go ahead and work on multiple coasters at the same time, but because I'm using the smaller one, we're just doing one coaster at a time. Okay, now we can start removing these from the background. So I'm going to go ahead and lift it up. Make sure you've given it proper amount of time to cool down. Oh, wow. So cool. I love that. I can't wait to go see the other one. So, okay, that one is ready. Let's go ahead and do the same with the other one. Wow. Get super, super vibrant. Look at how vibrant that turns out, especially when you use different colors, but that is really cool. So now we have a dual set that have that kind of really interesting Bohemian pattern. So what do you guys think of the finished coasters? I think they're really fun to play around with, and there's so many possibilities, and it's really easy to make yourself a custom set. So if you haven't yet, leave a comment below and let me know what type of project you would love to see next. And if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help. Make sure to check out my Cricut groups in the description box so that way you can join and be part of the fun and share some of your projects that you have going on. I hope you're having a wonderful day.